we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado, this is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
111 Run Diddy Dum. We're back at it, DCPC style. We got another good one lined up for you tonight. Back on the Zoom. You know, Zoom's becoming kind of the new norm. It's a great way to connect with people around the country. We got another great guest lined up tonight. Olivia's about to be joining us from down south, down there in Birmingham, Bama. And that's going to be a lot of fun, man.
A lot of fun. It's been a strong week so far. I hope that the week has been treating you as good as it possibly can and that you're making the most of every moment, because we don't have that much time in the week, and that's why we got to keep it rolling, and that's what we're going to do here. Very happy to introduce the guest tonight.
Liv, how you getting on tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Glad you can make it on short notice. You know, we have to move things around here at the DCPC studios, and, you know, we had another cancellation, so it was great to be able to reach out. You know, old friend, we got old ties back to New England, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pleasure. We were doing like a little pre-show banter, having a great time tonight. Kevin and I, you know, as ritual and like we do every week, we're having a couple. What is that? Already forgot the name. I asked you what you were drinking. It started with an M.
Moscato.
Yeah.
You wanted to say Moscow Mule because I know how your brain
I do
works.
like Moscow Mules.
You know,
actually.
I
do too.
That M. Do you like Moscow Mules?
I do. I'm a vodka drinker.
Yeah, that's true. But see, ginger beer for me, I feel like is a little bit of an acquired taste. Although I did have it once with fresh mint and like a blueberry vodka, and that tasted really good.
Interesting.
There's a bar down here. They have a drink called the Ed and Eddie, and it is a Moscow Mule, but they have flavored of the Deep Eddy vodkas. And my personal favorite is the orange one. Very
Deep Eddy,
good.
Isn't that that's a Texas vodka? I feel like. Isn't Deep Eddy a Texas vodka?
I don't know.
I need to learn my wine and spirits.
Yeah. You're about to learn a lot. And man, I got to tell you that I am not a good white wine drinker. A lot of it's too sweet, and I'm more of a red wine drinker. But I was in Texas and near Fredericksburg, and there's a lot of wineries out there, and they had this Rosé Tempranillo, and it was one of the best bottles that I had in a long time.
I don't do white wines. It's just, I don't do wine in general. You know, I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit of it, I feel like, and kind of learn this industry. But anytime I've done wine, last time I did it was at a wedding. Last time I was actually a little bit inebriated. It was red wine. And, you know, like we were talking off air, it's a rough kind of quick buzz and a horrible hangover, I feel like.
Oh yeah. I definitely get a really bad headache, especially off cheap wine.
Like the box stuff?
No. This is like a relatively cheap bottle of wine.
Isn't box wine kind of like considered cheap wine though?
Well, yeah, because
I would imagine so.
Yeah, you spend like $20, and with that $20, you basically get like 4 bottles of bagged wine that's in a box. And one thing, because once you go bottled, you never go boxed. You never go back to boxed. Like I was trying to.
Who decides that though, Art?
Because there's.
That's like saying once you go to Bud Light, you'll never go back to Budweiser. I've proved that wrong.
Well, the thing is the quality out of a bottle compared to a box. Like it's almost like sipping juice when you're sipping out of the box wine, and it doesn't have the effect that the bottled wine has, nor the taste.
I don't have enough experience in that, Liv. What do you have to add on this?
I've never had box wine, so
never once.
See, she's living that. She's living that La Vida Loca.
Well, you did mention though, like, because the Moscato, did I say that right?
Yeah.
I'm glad he finds that humorous. The Moscato, that's like a little bit. Is it considered like a drier kind of wine, or what the hell is it even?
It's a sweet wine.
Okay.
Like the sweetest of the wine. So Moscato is the sweetest. Riesling is like a little drier, but still kind of sweet, and then it goes from there. But yeah, I'm not great with wines. I can
just
drink
good at drinking
easily.
them. You're good at drinking them. That's how I feel. You know, I'm not an expert in anything, but I'm pretty good at drinking it. You know, and that's just a great way to look at it. I feel like, you know, find the positives.
That's fantastic. I just love how normalized booze is, but I'm really, really happy about the current trend on THC, my man, Bob Marley, making moves. And I've been seeing it since like 2012, 2014 out here in the state of Colorado. And it's been fantastic to see this wonderful plant that has all these healing factors and, you know, medical ailments like that is becoming more regular. And I think that's great. You know, maybe booze a little less. I feel like that's something Mark Trimble did. And
Mark
that's
Trimble did
something
do
that I feel like I could get on board with too.
You know, we were part of a unique group out here in Colorado in 2014. I mean, it was voted on the legislation prior to that, but on January 1 of 2014, like the first recreational marijuana in the world, we witnessed that. It was crazy. And Colorado's always kind of set the standard of where that THC industry is headed.
Yeah.
What's it looking like down there in Bama?
It's a sad, sad, weedless nightmare here in Bama. They just legalized medical, but that's not going to take effect until I think January. And it's
Okay.
only going to be like vape carts. And I think they said like the THC pill or like tincture or something, but it's not going to be edibles. You're not going to be able to get flour. It's really kind of annoying.
It's still a step in the right direction, though, because I mean,
Yeah.
Alabama traditionally has been one of the more conservative states, especially being on the Bible Belt there down in the South. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
for them even to consider medical, I think is a small step in the right direction.
I would
right?
say so. I would say so.
I mean, all the states around us are either legal or medically legal or at least decriminalized. So I feel like it was only a matter of time. But if I'm glad they got on the bandwagon, but it's ridiculous. They still treat, if you got caught with a joint, you are going to jail. Like, it's insane.
Jeez.
But if I was in Georgia or Mississippi or any other state around me, you'd get a ticket.
Yeah. That is interesting how that works. You know, like these imaginary borders that have been drawn onto the map and enforced. Like, I mean, you think about all the border conflicts around the world and just how like, you know, you got to stake your claim and everything. And it's just interesting how it all works. You know, I don't know. Is that geopolitics that I'm talking about? I don't know.
I mean, ideally, but you know, the way the Constitution was written originally was for the states to govern themselves. So
Yes.
I do like that aspect. Problem is then it becomes an issue because, you know, people from Colorado traveling through Kansas, you know, they know Kansas border, they're sitting there because
Yeah.
it's taboo here. You know, as soon as these yahoos come over the border from Colorado, we're stopping these guys.
Mhm.
You know, so that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. You know, you go to the states which best fit your needs. Everybody flooded here to Colorado. You know,
Yeah.
everybody came here because, you know, business was booming, recreational
I mean,
marijuana.
the state got a bunch of taxes too from it. Like,
Sure.
there's
But-
been
but-
benefits.
But look at, I mean, the problem is that we have no inventory left here in Colorado now. Zero. So the housing prices are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what's looking like down. I haven't spent a lot of time in Bama. I'd like to get down there and do some, you know, Talladega in. But what's that looking like versus some of these higher end, you know, Denver, San Francisco, Manhattan, the cost of living down in Bama?
I mean, it's pretty cheap here. I have a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, giant apartment, and we paid $1,250,
Yeah.
Nice.
and it's huge. I mean, literally, this apartment is huge. My Wi-Fi doesn't even get through my whole bedroom.
It doesn't service the entire floor space. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and it's just amazing how in the same country in less than 1,000 to 1,200 miles, you can go from, you know, the price of square footage can change that much. It's just amazing.
Oh yeah.
It is pretty crazy. It makes you wonder, like all the work from homers through the pandemic, like have they moved to, if you move to another state, then your income has to change. Like, doesn't the state pay you differently or the company pay you differently based on the state you live in? So if I tried to, you know, move to a place where the cost of living was less, then I would end up getting a pay deduction. I feel like that's how that would work. Or people
Not
would just take advantage
necessarily.
of that and just go move places and then, you know, have all this additional income because they cut their housing in half, you know?
I don't know. I just know that I made about the same in my industry everywhere that I've lived.
Okay.
I'm also in the service industry, so it's kind of hard to gauge.
Mhm.
I'm not salaried, so
Sure.
like I wouldn't.
And that's an industry that has a constant demand for sure. I mean, even during the pandemic, it still had a demand for sure. People got to eat, people got to get around, they need service, of course. But the big picture, Liv, is you're trying to do some screenwriting, right? You're trying to do some writing, get into that industry.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
What
It's
kind of
fun.
stuff, what kind of stuff are you writing? Like what is spiking your interest and leading you forward on that muse?
Well, I kind of like to write all sorts of different things, but currently I'm writing two horror screenplays for like TV shows. And then I've got a novel, and I've got like a 50 Shades of Grey kind of screenplay I'm working on, and
Okay.
a stoner rom-com. So kind of all over the board.
Nice. That's 5 projects, was that?
Yeah, and I just came up with a crazy sci-fi conspiracy situation. So I'm excited to start working on that too. COVID
Sci-
inspired that one.
Sci-fi conspiracy situation, huh?
Yeah.
And how much of that can you reveal, or if any at all?
It's kind of in the beginning stages, so I don't really want to talk
It's
much
it's
about it.
proprietary, okay, Kevin?
Yeah,
Just,
it's proprietary.
yeah,
I
lay
get it,
lay
okay.
off, man. It's
You know,
not,
But-
it's not-
Sometimes you need the juice.
I know something we gotta
But,
ask.
I mean, essentially it's a COVID conspiracy, but like a sci-fi
Okay.
version,
Okay.
if that
Yeah,
helps.
there's definitely there's a lot of meat there to bite off for sure. A lot of it.
I feel like I always think that I have good ideas, that I could be like a creative writer, but then I don't, and I'm just not good at it. I feel like, how do you get in the mindset to do it? What's your method of attack to sit down, put the pen to the paper? Are you one of those people, like, because when I was doing songwriting, I would get up in the middle of the night and just jot down ideas, or I would lose them forever. Taylor Swift said
Right.
it best. They're like clouds. They change very quickly and they'll eventually just fade away. So is it something you got to capture right away, or do you sit down and get into a dedicated mindset?
I pretty much sit down and, devote my time to it, but there will be some times where I'm just sitting in front of my laptop and staring at it and trying to procrastinate, because it doesn't work like that. I feel like it does sometimes, but for the most part I feel like I get my best writing done when I'm just like randomly hits me. Like I'll have a random thought come in my head and it'll be like second nature. I have to grab either my notepad or my laptop or iPad or whatever's in front of me, and I have to get it down. So, I mean, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's hours. It really just when it strikes. But if I'm specifically working on something, I'll use movies and TV shows. It's kind of like to ignite the fire, I guess, of creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to find like a little, I mean, it's hard to create constantly. Like when you're constantly trying to think of something new, you can't always pull that out of yourself. So I feel like it is important to kind of reference things that you admire, and that way you can compile almost all your favorite works into your work, which makes it almost a testament to everything that you've enjoyed. And that's kind of interesting with writing. I've done lyric writing, but I haven't done too much writing for, scripts or books or anything like that nature. But I did have a would you rather that's kind of around this. So I wanted to ask, let's say you're writing a novel, you're writing novels.
Okay.
Would you prefer to write, and I think I after just talking a little bit, I think I know, but write like a fictional novel about, an inspirational story, or write a biography about yourself to help inspire people based upon your personal experiences? Like if you had to write one, which would you rather write?
Definitely a biography.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say the fiction.
No.
There's the curveball.
My life is crazy. So I've had plenty of people actually tell me that I should do that, because it could be a very valuable lesson for some girls.
So kind of capturing something for a source of entertainment or educational purposes. Yeah. I mean, kind of the same idea with podcasting. We act like Yahoo's on here every week, do drinking, air out our dirty laundry, with the hope that maybe it'll impact somebody, so not that we're doing writing, but almost autobiography. I mean, we've talked about our struggles, addictions, what have you, so that aspect I can kind of relate to a little bit. And that kind of ties into my next question, which is, and talking to you off air a little bit, I know that you are trying to organize a podcast yourself, and I want to see that get off the ground. What's that looking like?
Well, if I can get my friends to get back on board. I think they kind of lost interest because we didn't have our equipment, and like that was kind of a setback, but I don't know. They're flaky.
Sure.
It's hard. It's like I heard this analogy when I was I was selling insurance at the time, and this lady that worked there gave me this analogy of, you know, trying to get everybody to meet in the meeting room, and it's like herding cats, and that's for all people that are in one building. So getting people that are in different buildings, like it's hard. Like, okay, you know, we get guest cancellations, and people are not always going to be available to actually, you know, do what they say that they're going to do.
Yeah, it's tough to get everybody on the same page. Commitment, organization. I look at almost like, you know, when someone commits to a pool league or a softball, you know, league, something like that, something you got to show up for, you know, maybe they get something out of it for a little bit, but then they lose interest. And this is, you know, when you decide to commit to a side hobby project that takes time, takes a little bit of money, it's tough to get everybody on board. But that's the key, you know, is getting the right people around you, you know, and then the rest
Right.
can kind of naturally. So I'll be curious to see where, what was the name of the show you want to launch?
Want to watch?
No, that your podcast that you want to launch. What's it going to be called?
Oh, hunch. My bad. Boobies and doobies.
Boobies and Doobies.
That sounds like a catchy title.
Well, that's it. Because I mean, in a world that's so competitive right now, you know, with podcasting,
Mhm.
having something that catches the eye, because everything is it's just kind of, you know, minute. And you
When I
scroll
love the
through
rhyme
endless thing.
too. Like
That's it.
I love the rhyme. I've always been a lyricist. I love when you could put some words together, give it some flair and flavor, and discussion combustion, boobies and doobies. You know, it gives it a ring.
Yeah, it does. It's inviting. You know, it rolls off the tongue good. And then the theme behind it, you know, telling, like you said, this kind of autobiography and these wild stories of shit that you've been through. That's the shit that people want to hear because they can relate to
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, especially being a woman dating in the modern age. I mean, especially after being in a relationship for 10 years and then being thrown into the Tinders and the Hinge and the this
Oh
and
my
that. Like
gosh.
nobody meets anybody like in person anymore. It's all online. It's such a shit show.
It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
It's terrifying. And I was,
So-
you know, 24 was the last time I was single. So that's a big old gap.
Yeah,
had
and
no
technology
idea.
does change for sure. I mean,
had no idea.
it's intimidating. It is intimidating because you have all these catfish people that are using photos from 7 years ago, and their profile actually means what? Like, do you ever like talk to these people on the phone? So I feel like that's a way to cut the BS with a lot of this is you go ahead and just be like, hey, give me a phone number so I can call you and actually talk to you, get to know you, and see if this is worthwhile, or do like a video chat or something even.
Or you could be a paranoid human like me and just assume everybody is a serial killer or a stalker.
You probably listen to a lot of the Crime Junkie podcasts, I bet.
I
into the-
don't. I don't
No?
know.
Oh.
I've had some really, really interesting experiences with guys and dating, and now I
Yeah.
just automatically assume they're all crazy.
Yeah, I would
I
say
know
a good-
I
a
know
good
they're not
majority,
all
a good-
crazy.
maybe not the majority. I would hope it's not the majority. It's probably not the majority.
Well, but here's the thing about when you start talking about majority, all that takes is 51%,
yeah,
right? So that's still a 49% benefit of the doubt. You know, so that word, you know, can loosely mean different things. Is it, you know, 1 and 2? I think it's possible. And it can go both ways. It's weird times to do dating. I'm fortunate that I'm not doing that right now. But coming off the pandemic, you know, doing the online stuff, it's always made me real nervous.
It's nightmare.
I haven't done a lot of online dating. I mean, you just don't know, I feel like, you know, and you don't even know in person because, you know, somebody's going to put on a front, you know,
Yeah.
they're going to tell you what you want to hear. They're the best salesmen when they're trying to tell you what you want to hear.
Right.
yeah.
It's also awkward when people that you know just magically start messaging you and you're like, ugh, why?
Because
Like,
they
you
know.
like coworkers and stuff just like randomly coming out of the woodwork and you're just like, no.
Shut them down kindly. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't date coworkers.
Yeah, and that's probably for the best.
yeah.
I mean,
That's a
it's a
risky
good
situation.
rule.
Kevin
Yeah.
tried to entertain it with me for a little while, and I had to shut it down.
First of all, I don't even know what that means. Because being married to this Yahoo couple nights.
Oh,
a
we're
week-
married now, huh?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
look,
see
John
where he's taking it. You
John
see
X
where he's
called us an
taking
old
it?
married couple. He sat across his table. That's what he identified as.
Yes.
So if that's where you want to go with it, I'm going to tell you that's what it feels like.
Okay. It's
All
it's
right.
a marriage built off of love, and this podcast is our baby, and we're
All right, let's not get
we're
carried away
raising
now.
it together.
Now we're starting to go off the rails. So one thing
Wait, I had something. You're
All right,
you're
fine,
asking.
you go
Kevin's
ahead.
getting all the juice right now.
you asked the would you rather.
Okay.
This is what we
Okay.
deal with, Liv.
So so you're into comic books, right?
I mean, I'm
So-
more so into the movies
Okay.
that the
Well, then-
comic books.
Yeah, that's a hard comparison because everyone likes to take the temperature of DC versus Marvel. And I was gonna
Marvel.
see where you sit on that, but then okay, so let me narrow it down because there's a couple favorites in the DC universe. So if you had to like take Batman and Superman, you know, and Wonder Woman, of course, the three, and you put them against like Spider-Man, your three favorite Marvel people. I don't know which ones are you leaning toward? Or are you a Dark Knight person? Do you love Batman so much? Or like, I'm just kind of curious.
So I lean more towards Marvel. Like I love all things Marvel so far. Like all of them. I'm super excited for the new movies too. But I do love Batman, and that's pretty much as far as that goes for DC. Like I think Justice League is okay, but
Yeah.
for the most part, Batman is really the only solid DC situation for me.
So where I'm going, if I'm doing DC, because I agree with you, Marvel has killed the cinematic universe, tying in all these movies and shows, and now creating the multiverse. Like there's a lot going on there, and they're killing it. But if I want the gritty stuff, I like watching the DC animated movies, which are like the drawn ones. And
Mhm.
there's some really good Batman animated movies that are like better than some of the Marvel movies, in my opinion, because they're like super gritty. And so those are good places. You can watch those on HBO Go. I don't know. I was just curious. I like to talk superhero stuff.
A nice free plug for HBO Go there.
Whatever. You know, they got the hot DC movies on there. What can I say?
Go ahead, Liv. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I can talk movies and nerd shit all day.
What's the nerdiest shit? Like, what if you had to say like, oh, this is the nerdiest shit that I'm into? What would that be?
I mean, I collect Funko Pops, so I feel like that's pretty nerdy.
Do you know what those are, Kevin?
If I said yes, I'd be lying.
Okay,
Ah.
so we're gonna do a word of the week that you and I
have a
both
whole
know,
wall
Olivia.
of them.
No,
Yeah, no, we're just gonna throw this one in here because this will be fun.
we have a word of the week
No,
already,
but
Art.
guess what a Funko Pop is?
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Just tell me what it is.
Okay, we'll let them know. You can let them
It's
know.
like it's like a little they're like pop icon, like little dolls.
Okay.
So yeah, they're like yay high, and all your favorite characters with a big head. They have a big head, right? All of them have big heads with little bodies.
I mean, yeah, can I like
Yeah, go
can
grab
Yeah.
I get up?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
grab one. We'll,
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
just-
show us the collection.
I can take you with me, I guess.
yeah, we're gonna see this live action.
Yeah, this is cool.
It's another DCPC first. Knew there was
I
gonna
hope
be
the
some-
service doesn't drop.
Yeah, you know, if
So
How
so.
it
do I
does.
switch
Just
the
walk
camera?
back where you came from. It'll be just fine.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
you do, and you got them.
okay. All right, now I know what we're looking at.
you got them
Yeah.
cased up.
I've seen these
Yeah.
before. I didn't know that's what they were called. Damn, you were
Wait, stop
fucking around.
talking, Olivia. You talk
I
so
told
the
you.
camera goes to
Oh, yeah.
her.
Sorry.
Wait, what?
No, you
What's
got.
happening?
I was talking. So
Yeah,
the,
tell us
the
about your
viewers can't
collection.
see it. So now you go ahead and
Oh.
talk so we can see it.
Tell us about
Okay. Well, these are my Funko Pops. I'm obsessed with them. I've got directors and artists. I've got like Leonardo da Vinci, Edgar Allan Poe, Jim Henson, and then The Shining, and a bunch of Game of Thrones.
it. Nice.
And let's see. Everybody loves this one.
Okay.
My Jabba the Hutt. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that one is cool. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, love that one. And then I have the Baby Yoda.
Oh, the
which
Grogu.
is- yeah, this one. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes.
And
Does
then
it say
everybody really
Grogu or
likes
Baby Yoda?
Hodor. It says the child.
The
I
child.
don't know if
Okay.
anybody watched Game of Thrones, but
Yeah, Hodor. Come on.
Yeah, I've got a lot
That
of
was a crazy sequence of events that happened in that show to make the Hordor happen.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, and a lot of Stranger Things. I'm working on it. I've been
That's super
collecting
cool.
for like 2 years, but I only try and get ones that are kind of rare or
And you always keep them boxed up, huh? Have you ever taken any out of the boxes?
no. Actually, nope, that's not true. I had a bobblehead baby Groot, like in the little pot. And that was actually my very first Funko Pop. And I didn't know like any better. So like I took it
Yeah.
out and my cat ripped the head off of it. So So I
Typical
was like,
cat story. Yeah.
I'm like, maybe we don't take these out of the box anymore.
For sure.
Leave it boxed up keeps the value. I was just reading an article, was it last week or week before in our group text, that the original Super Mario 64
Yeah, Super Mario 64.
still in the original box went for like 1.3 mil.
Yeah,
I
ridiculous.
heard about
Ridiculous.
that.
Ridiculous.
Unreal.
Who would have thought?
I mean, everybody had
Keep the
that
shit in the
growing up.
box.
Yeah,
That's the
Right.
lesson here. I got old school Jeff Gordon models like the die cast from the early 90s that have never been opened before. I ain't opening them. I'm gonna hold on to them.
yeah, do that.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
That's a serious collection though. I will say that. I hadn't seen that before. I didn't realize it was that serious. That's definitely a serious passion and hobby of yours.
Yeah, that was cool. The only
That
thing,
was cool.
only thing I have that compares to that is I got during COVID, I got on a major Gunpla kick, which is Gunpla is basically the model kits for Gundam Wing. That's what it is.
I don't know what that means.
Well, no, it's,
Yeah, I
it's
don't know
just
what
like
that
basically
means.
it's like these little miniature robots, these little
Gundams.
Yeah, these little Gundams. Yeah.
What did you call them? Gundas?
No, so the art of making them is called Gunpla, is what
Okay.
it's called.
Okay.
Mhm.
And that's the
All
art
right.
of putting these things constructing these
Yes.
Gundams. The art of
Yes.
constructing a Gundam is called Gunda.
They're model kits
I feel like that's a foreign
and you
language.
build them and they're really cool. So they're normally in the cartoons and the anime, it's like anime robots. They are normally like 5 stories tall. And then like a human would fit in the chest, like in there somewhere, and pilot this
Oh.
huge mech robot. And so I got
Okay.
into building those a lot during the pandemic. And man, what a pleasure. It's fun to collect stuff.
Yeah, it
Kevin,
is.
what is your
Yeah,
collection
but here's
thing?
the thing though, is as I just went through this whole like minimalization thing, you know, I got rid of so much shit because I had so much shit that I've been sitting on for years, stuff I had brought over from New England. You know, it's good to scale it back and just like, okay, do I really need this? Do I need that? You know, just junk. The amount of shit that I threw out that was like, why am I still lugging this around? Collections though, yes, I have a lot of Jeff Gordon memorabilia. Okay, that's probably what and guitars too. Those two things. I think guitars and Jeff Gordon memorabilia is my biggest collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and with everybody's got something they're collecting. Some people collect fucking old bottle caps.
What is that?
I don't know, but people do it.
It is interesting.
My movie collection is bigger than my pop collection.
Oh, for sure.
Ridiculous.
So do you have a bunch of VHSs or mainly Blu-ray DVD? Like what are you rocking?
Blu-ray DVD. I used to have a giant VHS collection, but
Mhm.
it got lost during a cross the country move, and I was very sad about it.
That's really sad.
But yeah, but I have about 1,000 DVDs and Blu-rays.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
quite a bit.
ridiculous. It's
quite a bit.
ridiculous.
A lot to move, a lot to store.
Oh yeah.
You know,
So
yeah.
top 3 movies.
it's tough art.
Ooh, okay. Pulp Fiction
Okay.
Rear
Solid
Window.
go-to.
and Casino.
Well, that was she rattled
Rear
those
Window?
off quick. I'd have to
Rear
really
Window.
think
I don't know
about my
if-
top 3.
I don't know if I've seen that. I haven't heard about that one.
It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And Grace Kelly is the star of it, and she is the epitome of classic movie star, like from the golden era of Hollywood. She's gorgeous. I love her.
Sounds
I don't
epic.
think I could
That sounds
rattle off
epic.
my top 3 that quick. I just couldn't. I'd have to really think about it. I could tell you my
Uh,
number 1, which will tie into a would you rather. but,
Okay.
Yeah, my number 1 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay.
That's a
Yeah.
good one. That is a
Yeah.
good one.
And I think we need to segue that into this would you rather.
Okay, yeah. So we put one together. This is a fight scenario. All right.
Mm.
So who's gonna win the fight tonight And we'll give credit to John of all trades. He gave us this idea a long time ago when we went on our first show over there. So who would win in a fight? Jim Carrey as the Mask. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he can create things, his guns, he could create mallets, like he's like a cartoon in real life. So a
Right.
lot of different things he could do. Jim Carrey as the Mask, or the T-1000 model from Terminator 2. That's the one, the liquid guy.
The
That
liquid one. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's gonna win in a fight?
Oh, really good question. I feel like both of them would have a pretty solid shot. But at the same time, if Jim Carrey lost that mask, he'd be kind of screwed against, the Terminator thing. So I'm gonna have to go with the T whatever thousand. I can't remember.
T-1000 model.
Yeah, that one. The liquid one.
The
gonna
liquid
go with
guy
that
from
one.
T2. Okay.
Because he's solidly gonna whoop your ass no matter what. If Jim Carrey loses that mask, he's just a regular old
That's
schmo
a good analysis.
again. So
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause
That is.
that's a good contingency with what could happen with the mask. If that thing comes off, he's fucked.
Yeah, what if the
Right.
T-1000 put on the mask? Then what are we dealing with?
We don't even know what we're dealing with there, Arthur. You're talking about Terminator 17.
unstoppable forces that we could not deal with.
Yeah, I think the T-1000 wins it. It's. I remember when
Definitely.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, "Well, how come it doesn't just become a bomb to come get me? It doesn't work like that. Moving pots, explosives doesn't work like that. Knives and stabbing weapons. That's its primary objective, right? Look, T2 is the real deal, people. All right, it's a great movie. It's on Netflix right now. Free plug. Watch that fucking shit. The T-1000. Look, he is the bad guy. He's out to kill John Connor. But I'm gonna tell you this: he would beat the mask, Arthur.
He would beat the mask. So
100%.
I really like I like your analysis, Olivia, how because that is part of this bout. The battle is the probability of Jim Carrey losing the mask. But if he was able to hold on to the mask, if he was able to utilize his imagination correctly, I believe that he could build a boiling pot. He could create it like out of nowhere and hoist that guy in there. I'm gonna do the oddball out thing, and I'm saying Jim Carrey's taking it with creativity. If he doesn't lose the mask, because obviously he's screwed then.
So it's contingency then.
Well, there's always probabilities.
That's true.
What's the probability percentage of him losing the mask?
I don't have the answer.
Well,
I know. So it's all
I'm
up to
pretty sure
speculation.
it got knocked off of him at some point during the movie,
I think it did a couple times actually.
like during a fight scene. So I
Yeah, it
mean, if
came
you're
off.
being fought by the T-1000, I mean, one good hit to the face, and I mean that thing's going flying off your face.
That's it. The T-1000 is gonna knock that son of a bitch off, Arthur.
Okay, I could see.
Liquid metal.
I could see it taking T-1000. I could see that taking the win.
Even liquid nitrogen couldn't defeat the T-1000. All right.
Right.
He froze him, smashed him into a million pieces. He still came back.
Still
How are you going to
came
compete with
back.
that?
You
You
gotta
can't.
no. But see, the mask could lure him and have created a booby trapped floor with a big molten lava cooking pot underneath this floor, and did a super cartoony like pull of the floor, whoop, 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 and then the floor is gone, falling into the liquid magma.
That's a good point.
And then there's a lot of different ways it could go. But I'm gonna respect what both of y'all said. Like the T-1000 is taking the cake right here.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one to compete with. I mean, that's, and then the newest Terminator, I don't know if you've seen it. What'd you think of Dark Knight or Dark Fate? I'm sorry. Did you see it?
Did not see it. The last one I saw was Genesis.
Yeah, and Genesis was all right, but Dark Fate actually, here's why I like Dark Fate. And I don't know if I'm talking about this on the podcast or not.
I don't think so, but it's possible.
It is possible.
Probably when it came out, you actually talked about
I
it.
probably did.
That's okay.
Here's what I like about it, because as noted previously, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is my favorite movie of all time. There is other ones I love, but that movie holds a special place to me. And I know you find that humorous, but it does. And so Dark Fate is the direct sequel to Terminator 2. That's what I like about it. It picks up where T2 leaves off. And we always wondered, okay, well, what's going to happen here? Sarah and John Connor, they go south of the border. No spoilers. That's how T2 leaves off. And then it picks up there.
If
So,
you
I mean,
haven't
that
seen
sounds fun.
T2 by now, you don't live in this country, okay? I don't know a person alive who hasn't seen T2.
I mean, come on, that thing plays on USA repeated once a month. Like everybody
Who
is
wants
watching.
to watch the edited version of T2? You need that full hitter.
Yeah,
That's
sometimes
very
people don't
true.
have an 1800 piece collection of Blu-rays. Like people just don't have that all the time.
That's true. Liv's on a different fucking level over here where she's got to have a whole
How many do
U-Haul
you-
to haul these DVDs.
How many do you have exactly? It's like 400 pounds worth of Blu-ray.
Okay, so when I was moving from my old apartment to this apartment, I put them all in extra small U-Haul boxes because I thought it would be easier to carry. Not really. But there's legitimately 15 of them.
Of those
15
boxes.
boxes of DVDs.
15 boxes of
Wow.
DVDs and Blu-rays. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And now how many boxes does it take to move those things? I don't know what they're called.
Funko Pops.
Funko
Yeah,
Pops.
Well, because they weigh nothing, just bought one like extra large sized box and they all fit
Nice.
in there.
Okay.
Yeah, one nightmare thing I was reading like on the internet was that movers were talking about moving conditions and how people pack things, and they're just like, why in the hell do you pick the biggest box to pack all the books in? And so it
Because
sounds
people are
like,
stupid.
yeah, you're doing the packing correctly, it sounds like.
Yes, I'm such a crazy packer. I mean, I had way more boxes than I probably should have, but again, it's easier to move smaller boxes, and especially if you have fragile stuff or heavy stuff, like you can put everything in little boxes. So much easier to maneuver. Yeah, there's going to be more of them, but if you're just moving by yourself or it's you and one other person moving, it's going to be easier to grab like 2 or 3 little boxes instead of just like one big heavy ass box.
And that's
At
where
a
the whole
time.
debate comes in, like work smarter, not harder, right? Because
Right.
people think, okay, let me get the big box and throw everything in there. That's not working smarter. That is working harder, right?
Right.
I'd rather do a lot of little trips to move the lighter shit to make it a lighter workload, more efficient, you know?
I also label and number all of my boxes.
Oh, see,
Nice.
you're way more organized than I
Yes,
am.
that's
Liv.
smart.
I'll be
That's
honest.
smart.
My
I'm super
basically
organized.
my Sharpie with my shitty handwriting, because 32 years old, my handwriting looks like I'm 7. All my moving boxes say Kevin's shit, bathroom, Kevin's shit, living room.
You actually
that's-
write shit on them?
yeah,
Like Kevin's shit?
I have done that, Arthur. Yes. I mean, that's what it is. Especially, well, I did that more in the roommate scenario.
Okay.
When I was living with
Yeah.
my old roommate, I almost dropped his name, but we would do that. He's like, okay, his shit, Kevin's shit,
Uh-huh.
right? So we knew because
That
the
makes
boxes
sense.
were the same.
The boxes are the same.
That's just what worked for me. But Liv, you have a numbering system that seems to work for you.
It's ridiculous how my OCD. So I label the top of the box and then I label the side of the box. So you'll always see.
Yeah, from
What's in
any
there?
angle, you know what's up. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you this too. I hired movers this last time, and I'm not moving any of my stuff
Smart.
ever again. I'm
Yeah.
not doing
Don't
it.
do it.
I'm done
Don't
with
do
that.
it.
We're in our 30s now.
Yeah.
Like it's time to pay for movers.
It's well
Right.
worth the investment.
yeah.
I'm not
Absolutely.
That's why I think I remember even telling Arthur, I was like, look, we don't do that anymore.
I always like to
we're-
call in favors and shit,
I was like, we're in our 30s. We don't fucking move shit anymore. You're not paying me in pizza
Right.
and beer.
Fuck
I'm not
that.
paying you in pizza and beer. I love you guys. You've helped me move several times. I've helped you move several times. We're too old now. I'm paying some fucking yahoos who happen to be great people to move my shit.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that. Quick interruption to a fantastic show. Man, you got to visit mountainmadecbd.com, enter promo code DCPC to get 20% off.
That's right. If you're ready to go like hell, if you're ready to let a rip tater chip, then there's only one place to go. And that's right there at mountainmadecbd.com. Use that promo code. Check out all this great stuff, man. It's time to elevate your game. It's up to you to decide what kind of game you want to run. In this game, this is fuel for you to succeed at that game.
Get the right energy, get the right motivations, and have something that's going to be right by your side. A company that's putting out milligram dosages of CBD that is they were the first to do it this way, and that's why we've supported them, and they've supported us as well for over 2 years, and that is #GoLikeHell.
Go like hell, baby. Today's episode is also brought to you by the wonderful Wild Outdoor Adventures, WOAMEET.com.
go ahead and log into that website or go to that website and then create a profile. Now, if you want to see the beautiful state of Colorado, this is the perfect place to go. You could ask questions on there. There's Hope for Veterans, Hope for Teens, easy to use website that gets people connecting outdoors to get outside, enjoy the beautiful state, and make some lifelong memories.
Just another way to go like hell, keep that train rolling, own it, let it rip, tater chip, get up there, get outside, get motivated, get active. WA has your back, and that's less dreaming and more exploring.
We're jumping back into the convo. Everybody here on the planet loves food. I mean, come on. If you don't love food, then, just work on eating something because it's important. So we have another Would You Rather for you. And what that is we're going to take two different cuisines that both hold a heavy culture, that they're both embedded in culture. They both have a plethora of different plates for your palate, and it's a fantastic comparison. So if you could only eat one of the two types of food for the rest of your life, are you going to eat Italian cuisine or are you going to eat barbecue?
Oh, like, is it a specific barbecue? Like, are we just talking pork or just like all barbecue?
No,
like anything from barbecue.
Yeah,
like,
barbecue in general. So like your corn on the cob, that's barbecued. You got your mac and cheese. You got your spinach. You got all the stuff.
So
all
the sides, everything.
Yeah, and same with Italian food. You have your garlic knots. You got your garlic bread. You got all the pasta dishes, all of the stuff. But you could only have one or the other for the rest of your life.
Well, I feel like there's more options with Italian food, so I'm gonna go with Italian food.
That's a good choice.
There's a lot of different regions and there's a whole bunch of different shit from Italy that you could eat off of and never get sick of. Like, let's face it, barbecue food, it's gonna be the same shit all the time.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. My buddy once said it best. He's like, the two countries that eat the best and have maximized their recipes to make it taste the best is Mexico and Italy.
Absolutely.
Taking those ingredients, maximizing it, and making as many dishes as possible. So I agree with that. I love Italian food. It's so delicious, but I have such a love for barbecue and the different styles. The different styles. Kansas City,
Yeah, because you could get all those.
I'm spoiled here too. I mean,
and there you go.
South,
down there in
they
Bama.
don't fuck around down here with their barbecue.
What's the specialty Bama barbecue?
Oh God. I mean, I would say probably like pulled pork, but then the like white sauce, like chicken with the white sauce. That's like the number one thing. It is like an Alabama thing. Like white sauce is like
is it country gravy or no?
Yeah.
No, it's like a mayonnaise based barbecue sauce.
I've never had that.
I've never had that either.
It's actually fucking delicious, and it goes really well with poultry. But honestly, I mean, I was the caterer for a barbecue place for years and years and years. And I actually accidentally had a pork sandwich and I spilled white sauce all over it. So I had like the spicy, sweet barbecue sauce and the white sauce, and it was incredible how good it was. But it was really a limited mistake. To here. You guys can get it. There's a barbecue place in Denver that sells it.
Really?
Yeah, I need to know about this because I want to try this now white sauce that I feel
white barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
it's actually the company that I worked for. There's one in Denver. Yeah,
we'll get that. We'll get that off, Mike.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to try that for sure because I love barbecue. I fell in love with it. I don't know when I fell in love with it. I think it was when one of my first trips to Kansas City. I was like, this is amazing. Then I went to Texas and had their style. I was like, this is incredible. Carolina, I love vinegar, so I love that Carolina style.
Oh, me
like
too.
Those different layers of barbecue is like, that's what I love about it. So that's a tough would you rather because Italian cuisine is delicious. There's so many different variables, pastas and meats and
salads
and the the cured meats like Genoa salami, gabagool.
Now is Italian considered to be Mediterranean, or is there like a branch of Italian food that is Mediterranean?
I don't think it's Mediterranean.
I mean, no, I think it's just Italian. I think
Okay, yes.
Mediterranean. I think
Yeah.
they're thinking like Greek, Morocco, like that.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the
That
vibe I
makes
get.
sense,
Like with
yeah.
Mediterranean food, I think of like falafel. I think of
Yeah.
hummus.
Yeah,
A lot of
100%.
that style of
Mhm.
food. And I'll tell you this: are you a fan of? How do you say it? Is it Euro?
Euros.
But it's spelled like gyro. Is that
Yeah.
that Mediterranean or is that considered Greek?
I think that's Mediterranean.
I think that's Mediterranean. I mean, it is Greek, but it would be considered Mediterranean.
Okay.
Maybe it's Greek, meta-Greek.
Mediterranean.
Trying to mix them.
Yeah.
Trying to mix them. I love mixing the foods. Man, I think I'm gonna go Italian food on this because it's just so fantastic, and I feel like there's so much that I haven't explored in that realm of culinary. So I feel like Italian food would be good, also because you could probably be a little more health conscious. I don't know, like it's probably all dependent on portion control. You could have either the
Right.
rest of your life, and as long as you just have the right portions, you're probably fine.
Yeah, you can say about
Right.
any style of food for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with barbecue on this. I feel like because there's so many different options. I love the smoking options, the different type of wood, the different ingredients and the flavors that compound into the way they smoke. It's good stuff, man. I love traveling around trying different barbecue, and I do want to
That's
try
so
Hawaiian
cool.
barbecue. I've never done that.
I have not tried that one.
Mm-mm.
They
But,
bury a lot of their shit.
Mm.
That was definitely, I would definitely say that was a hard would you rather. Because now, I mean, I feel like as much as I loved my Italian answer, and I'm still sticking to it, but you're absolutely right, Kevin. Like, there's so many different types of ways to barbecue that,
Yeah, like
I didn't-
Korean barbecue, that could be
I didn't-
included then too, right?
yeah, I didn't really think about all of that. Like, you took it to a whole new level, and my brain didn't go there.
I love barbecue. It's so delicious because
do
again, there's so many
too.
combinations. But the same with Italy too, because again, there's the different style of Italian cooking, and those dishes they're hearty, they're feel good. I always think of the Sopranos and going down to Artie Bucco's restaurant there and doing that real fun. I love the real Italians in New York. They don't call it sauce; they call it is the gravy good tonight?
Gravy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They call it the gravy
That
good.
gravy
Sunday
hitter.
gravy.
And that's
Huh.
taking it back to the roots, Liv, because I know you came down from that New York
Yeah,
lifestyle. And
I did.
before this epi's wrapped up, I do want to touch on how the hell I even know you, because it's good stuff. Going back to the old school New England days. And we were talking a little bit off mic last night, and you had some embarrassing photos that we are not going to play on this episode. But one of my lifelong best friends, he lived just up the street from me growing up. I lived on the lake up in there, Lake Winnipesaukee.
Mm-hmm.
And I met some great folks from New York. And that's how I was introduced to Liv at a very young age. We reconnected after a lot of years. You've been a supporter of the show. So it's cool to see it all come full
is
circle
cool.
and have you come be a guest on the program.
That is cool.
Love it. I've definitely had fun.
Oh, yeah. And we're not done yet because we have the word of the week also coming out of New England.
Okay.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah. The word of the week.
easy
we
whoopie pie.
have not done a word of the week in a couple weeks. So this one comes in from a gentleman by the name of Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Yep. And he is out of close to my home area, Keene, New Hampshire.
Out
Keene,
of there
New
in
Hampshire.
Keene.
I feel like
Alright.
I've driven through there.
Oh yeah, Keene's a fun town. It's kind of on that southwestern part of the key of New Hampshire. And so the word of the week is flummadiddle.
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 Okay, flummadiddle is the word of the week, and it's a noun, and it has two different meanings because one is used as a noun to describe something,
Okay.
and then there's also a New England dish that I've just learned about that is also called flummadiddle. So we'll start with the noun.
Okay.
Any guesses on what flummadiddle
Can you
is?
use it in a sentence, please?
I do not have that available right now,
Okay.
Arthur, but what
Well,
I'm going to
just
tell
freestyle a
you is
sentence.
the situation that occurred down the hall was absolutely flummadiddle.
Okay.
Oh, well,
That's-
that's not fair.
That was my
Oh.
take on putting it into a
Did
sentence.
he give it away?
No, I don't think so.
I think you got it.
What do you think, Olivia? What's flummadiddle mean?
Fuck if I know. I'm sitting here trying to think of anything it could be. I mean, I was thinking of like a whatchamacallit. Like it's a whatchamacallit. Like
I
nothing.
think that's fair to throw in there. So I would like to take a guess at both definitions.
Okay, let's start. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the flummadiddle in the hallway, that one is going to be like a ruckus, events are happening that are a little bit uncalm, like it's busy. Okay, so that's for that one. And for the food, I'm gonna tie off of that and say something that is like it's like a kind of a pot pie type of dish with a bunch of things, a flummadiddle of things thrown into the flummadiddle.
I mean, I think that was a pretty good way to bullshit your way through it, and I'm going to give you a lot of points for that. You know, it's always easy when I have the definition pulled up in front of me. So, flummadiddle, by definition, using two different definitions, is utter nonsense or worthless activity. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
So that's what it ultimately comes down to. Never heard this word before, ever. Now, going over to the cuisine side, because this is considered a New England fisherman cuisine. The difference in the spelling, though, same word.
Okay.
The nonsense one was spelled with one M. This dish, flummadiddle, if I'm saying it right, is with two M's.
Huh.
Okay. This is a baked main course pudding consisting of stale bread, pork, fat, molasses, and spices, including cinnamon, allspice, and cloves.
So it's a dessert?
It was part of an early American cuisine,
pork
especially
dessert?
among the New England fishermen. So I just learned a lot.
Yeah, probably is not a dessert. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know if it's a dessert. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't look that good.
Do you have pictures?
That sounds disgusting.
It's pork fat, molasses, and stale bread.
Oh,
Okay, like it sounds like a bread pudding with pork in it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, which would kind of tie
But-
off of that English tradition. So it makes sense why the flummadiddle. That's the word of the week. So
that
thanks,
was a good one.
thanks, Gary from
Yeah,
Keene, New
Gary.
Hampshire.
That was a good one. You had a good
Good
one.
job, Gary.
Gary, way to crush it, man.
Yeah, Gary seems like a nice guy. He'd probably like to have a little flummadiddle and drink a beer with us. And so one of the things we like to do at Discussion Combustion, Olivia, is end on positive notes and ask our guests, what is one piece of advice that you would give humanity to better everybody? You know, what's that one piece of advice to, hey, just apply this, you know, your take on it, your thoughts to better humanity.
Oh, if people could just be nice to each other. I mean, is that so hard? I mean, common human decency to one another. That's really all I care about. Is everybody be nice to each other. Nobody likes an asshole.
You're absolutely right. You know, and that's, it speaks volume. That's what we need. So many people get stuck up in their own situation. They forget about that neighbor, you know, and just sometimes being nice to the people around you goes a long way. And just being nice to one another. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of
Right.
conflict out there. We got social media. We got keyboard warriors. You name it.
I'm just going to put a challenge out there to all the drivers of the world. You know, if you're out there
Use your
driving these
blinker.
cars, yeah, use your blinker. How about just calm down? Like you're not going to get anywhere any faster other than like 2 to 3 minutes if you go over the speed limit and drive recklessly. Like it's really not worth it. You know how, I mean, so many people passing me driving crazy. Like you see them at the next red light, and challenge out to the world for that. Just let's go ahead and try to drive a little bit safer and be nicer drivers, because driving is so inherently stressful and people get worked up, and it's like, yeah, I'm the most calm person in the world, but get me behind a fucking wheel. And you know, like people change behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You just described all of New York.
Yeah. And even New
As the
England.
angriest drivers.
Yeah. New Yorkers are fucking crazy behind the wheel. No doubt about it. Anytime I'm in the passenger seat with a New Yorker, I'm my butthole's clenched up. But, even myself as a New Englander, we got anger. We get mad behind the wheel. We think we know everything. That's one of the things that these guys out here in Colorado told me, like, oh, you're from New England. You just think you know everything. I get behind the wheel. I get that mad face on. Get the fuck out of my way.
See, the thing is with Colorado, there's this whole thing that like the Colorado drivers are not good. But that's the thing is I grew up here in Colorado, and I feel like my driving is exceptional. And with that, there's so many people that move to Colorado and don't know how to drive in the snow. They move from Texas, they move from arid climates,
Fair.
and like things get them a little unsteady. And of course, everybody would like to think that they're a fantastic driver like myself.
You're a mediocre
But-
driver, Arthur. Let's not get carried away here.
I
All
feel like
right.
people in Colorado are a little crazy. I mean, they like fly. Like they don't give a shit. I mean, they're flying past you. Like every time that I've been out there, I feel like I'm going 20 over the speed limit and people are just flying by me.
Yeah, people rip
What
ass
is it
out here
about
for
the
sure.
Midwest?
They rip ass.
They
fucking
literally
rip.
haul ass. Like it's insane.
They definitely rip that ass because here's the thing. You got I-25 where you can rip tater chip all the way to Wyoming. You got I-70, which is a fucking mess.
It's a
hard,
mess all the time.
It's hard to rip ass through the Rocky Mountains. But yeah, there's a lot of availability to put the pedal to the metal. But, since all the marijuana legalization and all that shit here in Colorado, they'll find any reason to pull anybody over.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
speeding out here is not a wise decision. It just isn't. And I've actually, a lot of people call me a grandpa driver, even though I have a little bit of road rage. I drive pretty slow. I don't, I'm not ripping through the gears, accelerating rapidly. I drive the speed limit. I'm going to get to where the hell I'm going. That's just the way I drive until somebody cuts me off. Until my safety is compromised. When someone compromises my safety, I'm going to fuck them up.
Kevin.
That's where that road rage comes out.
Whew, I know. That's why we have to be nicer behind the wheels, people. Live examples here in the studio. Yeah, let's believe and achieve being nice to thy neighbor. Like you go back and look back 20 years ago, people really had to get to know their neighbors, and you had this trust and this bond and an experience communicating and being around people of the same neighborhood, and that's a bond that is lost in today's world of technology and constant screen time. So I feel like there is a lot of risk, like even you touched on, Olivia, earlier, like there's a lot of different people in the world that you don't really want to rub your shoulders with, but I feel like it's important to still have a level of respect for everybody, and try to your best to be kind to anybody, because you can't take how other people are projecting into the world. You can't take that personally, because then if you're letting external forces create your energy or influence your energy, then you're just letting things happen. And so if you can work past that, work past people being annoying and all this, I hate people just as much as all the people, but it's important to still have a level of respect and be kind and do your best. Like in my industry, I work in trucking, and it's a pain in the ass, and there's always things that go wrong. And I just really try to respect everybody and treat them well, and let them know that even though it's not working out, like I understand, and maybe we could still do business. But that's the thing, is like it's easy to get worked up, but it takes work to be kind. And so I think that's great advice, Olivia, for sure.
I'm a hippie. I just want everybody to be happy.
And that's a fair place to be. The ultimate goal in this life is happiness, and whatever we got to do to achieve that, being nice to one another is a great start to it. And on that bombshell, this has been a great episode, Liv.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun. I'm glad that, I'm not glad that your person canceled last minute, but I kind of am.
Things work out. Things work out. And the next time that you're on the show, you'll be live action in studio, sitting across the table from us. That's the DCPC experience. Repeat guests. We'll get you out here because I know you like to come to Colorado. So that, we'll touch base with you then. And any last remarks, quotes, plugs, anything that you want to get in before we shut her down?
No, just that this was fun.
And that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing, is enjoying your time, because time is limited. Don't get it twisted.
Exactly.
The week is going to run out. This month is going to run out, and the year is going to run out. And if you're not doing something with your time right now, then guess what? It's not happening. So to put some smiles on Olivia's face, have a great conversation. Kevin and I are both very happy that we got to talk with you tonight. And we hope that everybody listening in had a great time, and be good to yourself.
You deserve it.
Right.